So, with Rep. Anna Paulina Luna to lead with tonight, an overwhelming majority of Americans want to ban insider trading for members of Congress. Today, in a rare moment of bipartisan support, we introduced legislation to do just that. If leadership fails to bring the vote to the floor, we have a discharge petition prepped and ready to go. One way or another, we are determined to deliver this win to the American people.
Thank you for everyone for being here. As you know, the group behind us has been very vocal on this topic, and not to reiterate what Chiproy had stated, but I think it's 95% of Americans support this. I sometimes feel like an adjudicator in this job, so I guess I'll be the one to say that we've asked nicely for leadership to put this on the floor. If they don't, we asked them nicely. End of month. There is a discharge petition prepared and ready to go. Good. I think it's very clear where the White House stands on this. I don't speak for the White House, but the president has stated that he supports banning 100%. This because it is corrupt. Frankly, the fact that members are getting, plus 600% returns on their investments is wrong.
That is so fucked up,
But more importantly, how could you ever be expected to represent your constituents when you're clearly worried about your pocketbook? And so that's why we're here today.
Absolutely.
Again, thank you to Representative Burke.
Yeah, because they're passing legislation that benefits their investments on Wall Street. Not everything, but a considerable amount of stuff that they're passing, which benefits these giant companies that they're invested in. Look at Nancy Pelosi's profile. All those companies, I bet you could track along those stocks that her husband purchased. I bet you could track those right along legislation that was passed, directly benefiting the hell out of each and every one of those companies. And that's giving the companies a leg up. That's actually representing the companies and not representing your constituents.
Because he helped work on that discharge, but we are very hopeful that this will be brought to the floor in regular order, and we look forward collectively to deliver this win to the American people.
Well, I'm certainly glad I voted for her, and you're very welcome. Anybody who wants to see this bipartisan legislation passed and get stock trading and insider trading is really what it is, banned on the floor in Congress. From Watcher.guru, just in, Congressman Tim Burchett calls for nationwide stock trading ban on U.S. politicians. And they give a quote, but let's just
everybody knows I make these crazy skateboards. And people asking, hey, sell me a skateboard.
Ooh,
so I said, well, let me go check it out with ethics. I literally got to get attorneys involved to sell a dadgum skateboard. But if I want to do insider stock trading, just get elected to Congress.
Motherfuckers.
Really. I mean, let's just be honest. Look, everybody ought to do like I do. Get their $12,000 portfolio in a mutual fund. Let my buddy Tommy Seiler handle it. He does pretty well. Although my daughter's going to school now, so I'll be cashing that out very soon.
She ought to be looking for a husband, sir.
We're stewards of the community. Nobody's above the law. You hear that? It's kind of become cliche up here.
Don't put her in the leftist universities.
But for years, members of Congress, we know they've gotten rich using hardworking American taxpayers' money. Members sit on committees. We attend private meetings where we gain privileged information about companies. Congress appropriates money to economic sectors that may overlap with members' own portfolios.
Yep, I
call it the war pimps a lot. I worry about us voting on wars that we're going to send our kids off to that we couldn't even find on a dadgum globe.
Oh, yeah. And some of those companies members of Congress are invested in, and it just kind of makes you wonder, how in the hell was this legal the entire time? Like, I don't know, like Lockheed Martin or Raytheon or whatever the military weaponry contractors are out there. Members of Congress are probably invested in those companies, and they buy up right before, let's say, Ukraine and Russia situation, or really anything.
And members haven't owned stock in those things. The American taxpayer always gets the short end of the stick, and Congress seems to profit at their expense. This body has been enriching itself on the taxpayer's dime, and dadgummit, it's got to stop.
Dadgummit.
The president's already said he would sign a bill banning stock trading for members of Congress if passed. I think the real test is going to be whether Congress has the guts to stand up and do what's right.
I bet they won't. How much you want to bet that they're going to try and stonewall this as much as they can? For them to try to pass this legislation right now is a very smart move, if not outright genius, because next year we have the midterms to worry about. And if they refuse to get this onto the floor, anybody who's running against them, they really just, they've got the perfect campaign messaging to put out to the American people in their constituency, at least. So I really hope that this hits the floor. Speaker Mike Johnson, why the fuck wouldn't you do this? Why would you hold on to this and not allow this to actually get passed? Because they're absolutely right. I would say any American who even pays a little bit of attention to politics, they know that insider trading is a thing, and it's been a thing for a long time. And look, just most recently, just yesterday on the show I did, Rep. Ilhan Omar, she's now worth $30 million. Apparently it's not directly through stock trading. It has to do with her husband and his political activism working for progressive companies. And now he's got some like consulting business regarding political affairs that are like 60 companies are invested in, like $60 billion worth. And the company is not even 2 years old. It started off with only $1,000 and now they got over $60 billion. I mean, come on, man. I mean, they're so fucking corrupt, man. All of them. No, well, not all of them, but way too many of them are. All right, so this is from ACYN AOC. If anybody says, quote, "This isn't fair. I'm going to have to divest all my stocks if I run for Congress. Maybe you should stay home." I haven't seen this. I am very interested in to hear what AOC has to say. So this is a short clip. I have a longer one here, so I'm not sure if it overlaps. So I figured I'd just play the shorter one first. So let's see.
You guys jump in.
No, I mean,
Ocasio Cortez.
Says, this isn't fair. I'm going to have to divest all my stocks if I'm going to run for Congress.
Well, it ain't fair.
Maybe you should stay home. I think that, as someone, I ran for office. I was a waitress. Plenty of people have to make tons of sacrifices to run for office. But I think that really the idea that this is some undue burden is outrageous. And the fact of the matter is, respectfully and...
All right, well, my rep actually got me to agree with Ocasio Cortez on something. I could not... I couldn't fathom that even being remotely possible, but it happened. This is 2025. We're in some strange times. So from C-SPAN, Rep. AOC on Restore Congress Act, banning members of Congress from stock trading. Let's give this a play.
Introduce my friend Cortez.
All right, so this might be her full
Thanks, Cortez.
commentary, speech, whatnot.
Good afternoon, everyone. Hope everyone's doing well. I gotta say, I know it was, what was it, like 6 or 7 years ago now, Chip, that you and I were elected here, and one of the first conversations that Representative Chip Roy.
All right, well, Lex ain't liking that. I'm gonna have to make it smaller. Fuck's sake.
Just in general, and I think that this issue has brought so many of us across the political spectrum together because we are united by the value that
That's
people should feel that their elected representative puts them and their interests first, and that we are here first and foremost to do the job that the public has sent us to do. And, in many ways, I feel like this press conference and this podium shouldn't necessarily be facing out here. I don't think we need to sell the American people on this. We need to be turning it around and making sure that we get this thing past the post. And I want to thank Congressman Roy for the effort you've put in this Congress specifically to move this forward. And every year we've been getting closer, and I do believe, as we said, that this year we're going to get the vote. And I also want to thank Brian Fitzpatrick as well for, for some of the work that we've done in co-sponsoring our original bill on this. But it's very rare, I feel, in Washington that when we bring multiple stakeholders and folks together to negotiate on a bill, that you leave that room feeling like the bill got better. A lot of times it feels like we'll get to an agreement and we're holding our nose to get something past the post. But I genuinely feel in this process that in putting all of our bills together, we've actually ended up with a product that is legitimately stronger than the sum of its parts. And it is one of those rare moments where I feel like Washington is working the way that it's supposed to work, and it feels foreign and it feels alien, and it's like, what's going on here? But I also think it is proof
that that's actually true.
That things can work here. And when we put our disagreements aside, of which, of course, there may be many, but we focus on the things that we have in common, we can make our country better. We can make this institution better.
We can make America great again, right?
Come
on, AOC.
And earn
we know
the
you
faith
got it.
of the
You know
American
you want to say
people, which is really genuinely the core of our work here. And so to that end, I want to thank everyone for their incredibly hard work. We are going to get this done. It requires standing up against the powers that be, but because of the support of the American people on this issue, you all have generated the momentum necessary to give us the power to be able to do this. And I look forward to bringing this to a vote. I look forward to banning the trading of individual stock on the floor and by members of Congress.
Amen.
And,
all politicians.
And I'm looking forward to making this place a better place that puts the American people first. So thank you all
Absolutely.
so much.
Amen, dude. Amen. I cannot believe I actually agree with AOC on something. I agree with Democrats on something. And I'm sure almost all conservatives, or at least all of them, should absolutely agree with this. And not only should they be passing this on the federal level, the states should also give this serious consideration. I'd be curious to know if there are any states out there that already have the banning of insider trading on the House floor in individual states. I bet there's probably at least one state out there where they've banned insider trading on the state level, because there's companies, they got to operate in one state at least, if not multiple states. So I'm sure that happens just as much on the federal level as it does on the state level. I'm sure there's a lot of people insider trading down on the state level with the state reps and the state senators and all that. So Chip Roy, there is now a broad coalition united to ban congressional stock trading. The American people are with us. Let's pass this legislation and get it to the president's desk ASAP.
Got everybody? All right. Well, good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for
Holy
joining
moly,
us here
that
today.
was loud.
Today's a really important day.
Ow!
We have the opportunity before us to answer the mandate given to us by the American people who respect banning stock trading in Congress.
He's got a strong
and
voice,
should
man.
not waste time. I want to start off by saying
Oh,
how
he's
much
from
I
Texas,
appreciate
that's
this
why.
bipartisan group of members. We've
Everything's
been meeting
big in
regularly
Texas.
over the last however many months, frankly, maybe years, trying to work to get consensus. I'm proud to have worked with
There's
Seth
Jay
Magazine,
Powell
who
right
I'll
there.
turn it over to in a minute, who I've been working with since
I think she's next.
Abigail Spanberger left. She and I introduced legislation 5 years ago on this topic, as you all know.
5 years ago, man. Jeez.
And we've been trying to move this along. That bill, the trust.
Okay, so I must have misspoke. I thought Rep. Anna Paulina Luna was the one who launched this bill. Maybe she launched the most recent iteration of it, or maybe I don't even know. I believe that I read somewhere that she was essentially the individual, like the person with the most muscle behind this current bill that they're working to pass it. But I might have misspoke. I mean, they're obviously all co-sponsoring it together, so they all have equal weight behind this bill. But it's so nice to see that Republicans and Democrats are actually working on something, and that Democrats are actually working on something that's not nonsensical. Like, this makes absolute perfect sense, and this should have been done like a fucking century ago, man.
In Congress, the original Trust Act has a significant number of co-sponsors, but what we've decided to do is take the multiple bills that are represented by folks on this dais, bring it together into one bill, and
There
speak
you go,
with
okay.
one united bipartisan voice.
So
that
she
it is
must have had
time
her
for
own
Congress
version
to
of it.
act. It is time for the leadership of Congress on both sides of the aisle to do what the American people have been demanding, which is
Yep.
to end day trading by members of Congress. They do not send us here to enrich ourselves while we are voting on the issues. They send us here to fix and address, and then have members who are trading stocks on the very issues they're supposed to be voting on.
Yep.
On
Before
an
they even
objective
vote,
basis,
knowing
for the
that they're
benefit
gonna
of the
vote for
American
it.
people. So we're going to have filed today. We have just
Make it
filed,
retroactive.
a bill that we're calling the Restore Trust in Congress Act, and that legislation, which I'll
Get
let
some of these
Seth
people in
expand upon
jail.
a little bit more in detail, takes the best elements of all of our legislation, puts it together to restrict and limit and ban trading of stocks by individual members of Congress. Now, it retains the ability of members of Congress to have their funds in
Oh, man, he
broadly
reps,
held mutual
Kerrville.
funds.
That's where that
it
bad
allows
flood
members
happened.
of Congress to be able to work through under the rules to do that, but they should not be trading equities, and they should not be enriching themselves on the very issues that they're voting on. We have Capital Trades, for example, reports that 113 members of Congress made 9,261 trades in 2024 involving 706 million shares of other assets.
Oh my freaking God, dude.
That's not why
That's
people
so
sent us here
fucked
to
up.
Washington.
Absolutely
there are 330
insane.
million Americans. There are 435 of us. If you want to
Yeah.
day trade, leave Congress. It's that simple.
Absolutely.
If you come up here
Amen.
with the trust of the American people, do your job, vote to deliver for the American people. I would note that Speaker Johnson has said that he supports banning trading of stocks among members of Congress.
Yeah, well,
I would
I'll
note
believe
that
it when I
President
see
Trump
it.
has said he supports it.
I'll
I would
believe it
note
when
that
I see it.
Secretary Besant has said that he supports it. And vast numbers of both sides of the aisle support.
What about
this,
the majority whip? What's his name? Does he support it too?
The House Committee on Administration
Probably
should
not.
consider this bill, move the bill forward, amend it, go through regular order, but deliver it quickly to the floor of the House. But we're going to get...
And look, AOC, she might be a freaking idiot on just about everything, but she's a member of the squad, and apparently they've got a lot of power on the Democrat side. And when they're polling individual Democrat voters across the country, they're consistently saying that AOC is the leader of the Democratic Party. When you ask everyday, just average voting Democrats, that's the name they keep throwing out. They keep saying that she is essentially the leader of the Democratic Party. So for her to co-sponsor this, I would really like to know how many Democrats that she has on her side. I don't know if she's going to come out and say it or not. I don't know if that's really how they do things. Probably not, but I would really be curious to know.
They vote on this. This is a non-debatable proposition. We're going to get a vote on
Yeah, it's common sense, man.
We're calling on leadership to use regular order to deliver, but it is past time to deliver, and this bipartisan group are standing united to say that that's what we should do. With that, I would like to turn it over to Seth Magaziner, who's led this initiative on the other side of the aisle alongside me with the Trust Act.
All right. Well, I'm not sure if I have him or not. I don't believe I do. No, I don't have his speech, but I do have J-Pal. I do have hers. So let's listen to her.
The simplest thing.
See if I can full screen this.
People want, which is to know.
God, dude, what's going on with X tonight, man?
Represents them and not their own pocketbooks. And that's really what this is about. Brian talked about insider trading and the information we get. We also should know that people are taking votes on issues where they're not thinking about their own stock portfolio. At the core, this is really about public trust. And public trust right now in government is at an all-time low.
In the toilet.
And there's a good reason for that, because people don't know who we represent. So let's make this really, really clear.
Most of y'all don't represent us.
This bill gets around many of the loopholes that existed before in some of the other pieces of legislation. There's real accountable fines here.
Good. I mean, not just fines, man. It's got to be more than that. That if they're engaged in insider trading, it's got to be a fucking felony. It has to be something that's really going to hold them accountable, instead of some like, oh, well, you get a $10,000 fine for every $1 million that you get in capital gains from your stock trading. I really would like to read it. I'm gonna have to look this up and see if I can actually read this to see exactly what are the penalties, what are the fines. It should be actual criminal charges. It should 100% deter anybody in Congress from doing any kind of insider trading. What about me? If I get caught doing insider trading, whether if I'm a stock trader or if I'm just a regular civilian, what would be the penalty for me? I'm sure it would probably be a felony, would it not? And probably would have to do prison time, most likely, probably regardless of the amount of money that I earn, whether if it's like $1,000 or if it's $100 million. That's what they should be charged with, the equivalent, because they're everyday citizens too. They might be politicians, but in the eyes of justice, they're supposed to be held to the same level of accountability as everybody else, if not even higher, man. Politicians should be held at a higher standards because they're fucking lawmakers, for crying out loud. So, all right, well, that's the end of that. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. Hopefully it will stay in the news. I'm assuming because squad members are talking about it, I'm assuming the mainstream media is probably going to keep talking about it. At least I hope so. But only time will tell. I guess we'll have to see. I think they said something about over the next month, and then they're going to move forward with other plans if they can't get it to a floor vote. So yeah, man, it's going to be exciting if they can get it to a floor vote, because we're really going to want to know who's voting against it, because some people are absolutely going to probably vote against it, and it's probably going to be the end of their political career, which if they vote against it, you're basically not doing any good service to yourself, because you're not going to be able to take much advantage of it when you don't get reelected next year, because everybody in the House, they're up for reelection next year.